Hey dumb, this is Dave Desai. Let's talk about Jung Kook allegedly being assaulted online and why people are saying he is being attacked over a Qatar thing. We also have paparazzi photo that was initially believed to be Jung Kook in Qatar and it appeared like he was smoking. And then we have RM talking about his emotions lately and crying a lot. So hater or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Grab your dumplings, he's spilling mug merch, and let's get into it. My heart hurts when I see people cry, and I tend to think this is more of a select few people that actually feel sad when we see celebrities cry or other people cry, because most of the reaction is either celebrities have everything, they shouldn't cry, or be a man and don't cry. And if it's a female celebrity crying, then it's more of the first one. But the standard in which society puts on these celebrities is often very much not fair. Often a lot of celebrities still have a desire to create and make more art because that is what they love, even after they created one of the biggest hits in the world. They also will still have pressure from the label and even their supporters to keep going and be big. And if they don't continue the success, a lot of the supporters leave or the label drops them, which would stop them from making more art. However, this may be shocking to a few people, but even after some of the biggest hits in the world were created, a lot of these artists don't see the full amount of money that is being reported that they made. The money is often cut by the label's large cut, and of course taxes, and then their overhead is higher because they have assistants and maybe even a house. This is often why you see celebrities who've had one-hit wonders have to go and find another job eventually. They're not set for life, so often people think that they are. So they wonder, what could the celebrity possibly be upset about if you can't keep making music at that same level of success? You should go and retire. But they can't. At the same time, if they did actually feel that way about their life and thought that they were all high and mighty, no one would relate to their music anymore, and then that would be their downfall. And we've seen that happen with upcoming celebrities who've had a superiority complex. Of course, BTS members don't have a superiority complex. They fear what will happen if they don't continue to make music. Maybe not a financial concern, but more of them just wanting to make music and still reach as many people as they can. They don't want to be known as once was popular but now not anymore. RM in a recent live stream kind of spoke about his feelings towards all of this. He was in his studio and he was very candid about his feelings. He expressed that he had been crying a lot over anxiety that one day ARMY will stop loving them, and he says that he is scared that they will have to leave and therefore he cries a lot. RM talked about how artists fear that their fans will leave and the fans fear artists leaving. And it's good to know that is where he is in his head lately. This is definitely a concern, but I think it's one of those thoughts that you think of and you just have to keep moving. Artists like Adele, Taylor Swift, and several others would leave for years at a time and be able to come back with a banging album and break all sorts of records. You have artists like Rolling Stone who to this day may not get a similar news coverage like they once did, but can still hold a concert and sell out. People aren't going to leave. They might move on to another artist while you are away, but if they once loved you and had a huge heart for you and you never hurt them, then when you come back they will be there. What actually matters there is if the label or PR team does a good job at letting the fandom know that you're back. Oftentimes you have no idea if a celebrity is even back or not. I hope RM realizes things will be okay, and I've mentioned this before. A famous person's career is never over. It might regress a bit in terms of relevance or numerical success, followers, views, and things like that, but if you could build it from the ground up before, you can do it again. Might be harder, might be several different things, but no doubt it can happen, and probably easier, honestly, as your name is already out there. Look at Lindsay Lohan, look at what Big Time Rush is currently doing. There's many examples of this, and at the end of the day, fame is not what life of an artist is about. It's about making the art that you're proud of, and if you're trying your best, even if there's pressure from HYBE or the entire country of Korea for you to maintain this success, there's nothing more you can do than your best. And of course, it doesn't make it easier that a lot of people in the fandom are obsessed with numbers, credits, and these more honorific things that are just vanity metrics and are not always representative of quality things. Of course, BTS members see that and they think that they need to uphold that, otherwise they're disappointing everyone. Someone that was in the middle of this recently was Jung Kook. Everyone was saying that they needed to apologize to Jung Kook because he is constantly being assaulted online, attacked, and his achievements are being put down. It even trended on Twitter asking everyone to apologize to Jung Kook. So what happened? We all know that Jung Kook was chosen to be a part of the World Cup and was specifically chosen to be the singer for the song Dreamers. The people in charge of the World Cup really didn't have anyone else in mind. They just wanted Jung Kook. This was controversial because why not the rest of BTS? Now that is the decision of the person in charge of the World Cup. This of course is something that typically would not be allowed because BTS only performs as BTS, but since they're focusing on more solo stuff, it seemed HYBE was more than okay with allowing Jung Kook to pursue this. People became quite upset when when they noticed that with the credits under the song Dreamers, Jungkook was being credited alongside BTS. People who only like specifically Jungkook were upset that BTS was given credit at all, given the other members presumably did not participate in the song in any major way or at all. This is where I get kind of upset because I did not think this was a big deal at all. People were saying that haters and society have always treated Jungkook badly, and this was another incident of him not getting the credit he deserves. But that is not the case. BTS getting credit is totally fine, and we don't know what Jungkook's contract looks like. The member likely had to sign a new solo contract when they decided to do the solo stuff, and there could be a clause in there that whatever each member does, it gets split with HYBE and BTS because BTS is still together. They never broke up, meaning what Jungkook does is still representing BTS, not himself. And likely BTS would be getting some of the royalties from that song. But regardless of if they're credited or not, they will be getting royalties, because if HYBE is getting a cut of Jungkook's work, then it will trickle down to the members anyway, and since they own a part of HYBE. So that is one theory that I have, which if you look at it that way, there's no issue with BTS being credited in the credits. The other thing is that I don't think Jungkook cares, so why do these random people in the fandom care? That's like if you're in good relations with your family and then you take the money you make and you support them. What's wrong with that? Jungkook is likely so okay and fine with BTS getting this credit. BTS members have also been so supportive of Jungkook and his performance. There's another thing, which is that if they don't credit BTS, would the fandom be mad that they did it? So either way, in this situation, they were going to get backlash. I mean, Jungkook is always in the middle of these things, and he doesn't even have to do anything to be in the middle of these things. For example, it was recently believed that Jungkook was spotted during a shooting for either a TV show or his music video by Paparazzi, and it appeared like he was smoking a cigarette. This is of course quite shocking to people as these photos started to circulate. However, it was immediately strange. If you look into the photo, you'd realize it looks quite cold where Jungkook is. And Jungkook had just come back from Qatar, so likely this photo, if it followed that timeline, he'd be in Qatar, and Qatar is not that cold. So it's very quickly debunked, and it turns out this photo is a photo of a Japanese actor named Kazuya Kamanashi. And of course, this was lighting and stuff that made it appear like Jungkook. But even in regular photos, it looks a lot like Jungkook. Now, of course, there's no issue here if it was Jungkook and he was actually smoking. It just would have been quite shocking because Jungkook had previously talked about how much he hated his father smoking and asked his father to stop. So for him to go ahead and start smoking would definitely be weird. Of course, people changed their mind, and Jungkook is performing at the World Cup. That is quite stressful, so smoking could help that. But we see that that isn't him, and none of the timelines and stuff actually match up. But the resemblance of this smoking photo of the Japanese actor and Jungkook is just crazy similar. But not everyone who looks like Jungkook is Jungkook. And I think it's so funny that the actor is clearly famous enough to get paparazzi, but then everyone is saying that this is Jungkook and doesn't know who the actor is. But anyway, I am curious to hear your thoughts on this paparazzi photo, RM's emotional feelings, and of course, people trending Jungkook over the World Cup thing. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos, link down below. Thanks for this lovely comment right here. Love you, bye.